Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel for our first SPFBO breaking news of 2024. My name is Katherine D. Graham. I'm a USA Today bestselling fantasy author, and I am not an organizer or judge or anything like that for SPFBO, but I am a participant in SPFBO 9, which is the 9th year of the self-published fantasy blog off. I'm here today because on March 30th in the SPFBO official Facebook group, the organizer, Mark Lawrence, announced some big changes for participants who want a chance to enter this competition themselves going into 2024. So we're going to pull up the actual blog and see what those changes are. And if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, feel free to leave those in the comments either on Twitter or on YouTube. I'd be happy to hear them. So before we get started, let's talk a little bit about what this competition is, who's leading it, and what you should expect if you're wanting to enter. So the Self-Published Fantasy Blog Off was organized by Mark Lawrence. I'll keep this part pretty short. If you're watching this, chances are you already know about Mark and SPFBO and all the great things Mark has done. And Mark, if you happen to see this, I want you to know how much I personally appreciate what you've done for the indie community and what you are continuing to do this year out of the goodness of your own heart. Mark does not charge a penny for this competition. As famous as it is, SPFBO is 100% free. And the goal of SPFBO is ultimately not to bring awareness to Mark and his amazing books like The Book That Wouldn't Burn, but to bring awareness to 300 self-published fantasy books each year, judged by 10 well-known indie book bloggers and some who also do some traditional reviews. There is one winner, but semifinalists and finalists also get stickers and recognition that can really help their careers. And SPFBO really is well known for its positive, encouraging community. None of that is changing, but there is some big changes coming for SPFBOX with the entry, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. The biggest update that was announced this weekend was the entry process itself for SPFBO 10 will be changing. If you participated in 2023, then you know that the signups closed in 40 minutes. We had to be up very early, some of us very late if you were international, to try to be first come, first serve in that batch of 300. 40 minutes is not a lot of time, and a lot of authors didn't get a chance to make it in. This year, as posted on the official blog, which you can click to read in the description box, since I'm not associated with SPFBO outside of being a participant, I highly recommend you do read the guidelines in full because this is just a snapshot. The change to the entry process is as follows. SPFBO 10, SPFBOX, will open to entries on Friday, the 10th of May, 2024 at 1 p.m. GMT. The link will be posted here on the blog. So please save that blog if you want to enter. The SPFBO 10 contest will start on the 1st of June. Now note, the entries open the 10th of May. Don't come back 1st of June or you'll miss your chance. Since SPFBO 9 filled its slots in 40 minutes, a different system will be used this year so that people in some time zones don't have to get up in the middle of the night, which is super appreciative, I'm sure, for the international people joining. The entry form will stay open for 24 hours. After it's closed, 300 manuscripts will be randomly selected from the pool of those who have signed up. I'm very curious to hear in the comments and in the chat how you feel about this, although I do suggest that we remember that the spirit of this competition is to bring awareness to fantastic indie books that may be going unnoticed across the board, right? There's a video that I'll try to go back and link in the description where Mark said why he started SPFBO. And yes, while I don't mind being up in the middle of the night to submit a book, or you might not, or maybe you did in past years, and so maybe it's a little difficult to imagine having to change the way this has been done for 9 years. There's also some valid points that I think Mark took into consideration here. To try to make the competition as accommodating to as many authors as possible. It can be very tense getting your book in. It's a huge celebration if you manage to do it. I do appreciate the fact that it is going to be randomly selected and hopefully not biased if it's just pulled random 300 books, almost like a lottery system, right? And I know not everybody will agree, and that's completely fine and valid. If you are in the Facebook group, there are a variety of comments that range from people feeling like they liked the old system to people who are relieved and excited for the new one. I do ask, if you're watching this on my channel, to just keep comments respectful if you do share a differing opinion from other people who are posting, because I want this to be a welcoming place where people can come get SPFBO news regardless of what they personally feel about it. So thank you in advance for that consideration. So this is a really big change. You'll now have 24 hours to get your book in. There are some rumors floating in the Facebook group that are not reflected on the site, and I want to be very, very clear about that in just a minute. The other major update was actually announced earlier than this weekend. This was announced after a little bit of drama last year regarding a cover image that people were sure were AI, where there had to be proof sent in about the fact that it was or was not AI and the models that were used. If you go to the entry post in the description box, you'll see that all references to the cover contest have now been struck out. And this is because the cover contest is not currently planned for 2024. I can't remember. So much news came out of SPFBO last year, and I should, but I don't remember whether or not it was canceled for 2023 too, or what ended up happening there. But in short, all the drama went against the really the feeling of the competition and the community that's being built here. So it has been struck in both mentions. The first is the rules and regulations. The book must be entirely human written. No AI writing is allowed. If the cover contains AI art, it won't be included in the cover contest. That's now been struck. And then also down below where it shows the process has also been struck out, where judges would originally have picked 3 of their favorite covers for the cover art. So some things that are not changing, which goes back to what I was just showing. There's a lot of rumor and speculation going around in the Facebook group. I'm sure that there will be some in the coming weeks on other channels. I personally am going solely off of what Mark actually has on the actual entry page of his site. If it is not there, I would take the rest as speculation with a grain of salt, and also know that any time between now and when submissions open, the contest is, of course, subject to change, right? There's some potentially great suggestions going in the groups, and then there's some people who have some thoughts about other aspects that might sort of limit who could participate, and just some good talking points. But as of this year on the homepage, there is no change to the 300 book entry. They'll just be done randomly instead of first come, first serve. There's still going to be judges. There's still going to be semifinalists. There's still going to be the same phases that you're used to seeing in SPFBO every year, according to the site as it is today. So as an indie author who has participated and did not make semifinalist or finalist, just as a participant, I could say firsthand that the community that you gain participating alone is worth its weight in gold. And I strongly recommend, if you're on the fence, just giving it a try, especially now that it's a lottery system. You can give it a try. And if it's not chosen, then maybe you can tell yourself it wasn't meant to be. There are some other regulations that are put in place on the site. I will do a separate video in the coming weeks with exactly what those are for you guys. But really, I just wanted to touch on this first big update so that you know you don't have to be up at the crack of dawn to submit your story. If you hear any other news that I've missed, please feel free to leave it in the comments on Twitter, on YouTube. I will be happy to include it. I do plan on coming back and doing some SPFBO news in 2024, even if I don't participate, or my book, if I do participate, isn't chosen. I will say that I did see from Mark on the Facebook page that it does not count as an entry if your book is entered in the lottery is what I'm going to call it here, during this 24 hours, but not actually selected, because there's a rule about how if your book's been entered in SPFBO in the past, you can't resubmit it in the future. That does not apply to ones that aren't actually chosen as part of the 300, according to Mark's Facebook comment. So thank you so much, Mark, for putting this together, for all that you're doing to try to make SPFBO more inclusive for a broader range and group of authors. And for everybody who's going with this, excited for the change, excited to still compete. I'm looking forward to reading books from more indie peers this year, and I hope you are as well. Thanks so much, everybody. Like the video and subscribe if you'd like to see more news as it comes available. Take care.